Hello. So I'm Jack Wise. I'm a SOC analyst at Stripe OLT. I got into cyber through a boot camp called Caps Lock. If you don't know, that's a 4-month online boot camp where it teaches you the very basics of how the cyber industry works. So why am I here? I thought about this last year. I came last year for the first time and I said I was going to do a talk this year, knowing that it's definitely out of my comfort zone. And now I'm here, and these are the words that I thought of when I thought about doing a talk. So I've seen people like Joe Wells talk about our young people and the safety of them, and Ryan Pullen talk about the infinite game. And Ryan Pullen was here when he was talking, and now I work for him. So I should hopefully have done something right, and that's where achieved comes from. So the QR code conundrum is about how since COVID there's been an uptake in the use of QR codes and how we need to mitigate the use of them, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're super useful and we need to find a way of making them safer for us to use and go forward. So they were created by a company called Denso Wave, who are a Japanese automotive company, and they were using barcodes on their car parts to track them through the factory. They were using up to 5 barcodes for one part, and because none of these barcodes were, these car parts even were similar shape or size, they're having difficulty scanning them and it was slowing them down. So one of their engineers was playing this game that I have no clue how it works, which resembles a QR code. He thought of storing information in a grid, because our conventional barcode that we use in shops cannot store as much information. And he took this back, and a while later they created the QR code, which we know to be the quick response code. And what did they do with this information? They made it free to use, but sold the scanners. So monopolizing the QR code industry for a very short period of time until we have the first smartphone which could read a QR code. And that was made by Sharp. And now we all have a QR code scanner in our pocket. We all know how to scan them. And even our grandparents probably know how to scan them now since COVID. Trying to get into anywhere without scanning a QR code is pretty much impossible. So imagine going into a shop, restaurant, cafe, scanning a QR code, sitting down, never speaking to a human. That's what we all do. That's what I do. I love it. But it's our reality now. But do we really think about what we're scanning? What's behind that QR code? Is the QR code real? Yes, there are sometimes behind a bit of plastic or on the wall. But I'm going to show you how quite quickly you can make a scam of your own. And that is the car part scam. So this is such an easy scam to make. I've done it myself. And I'm going to show you how to make one. And don't throw anything at me for this, but I used to be a car parking warden. And no, that is actually quite fun. Until people start throwing stuff at you. So car parking is quite a weird sort of thing. You're getting a service, are you getting it? You're sort of getting it, maybe. You pay for it, hope you get it. And if you get a ticket, it's a couple of weeks down the line. So this can be great, because by the time I've scanned this car park, I've moved on to the next one. And do this a couple of times a day. You got a career out of it. So if anyone's looking to quit their job, it's quite a good one. So here is my car park quishing scam. And I've done it start to end, and I give myself 1 hour to do it. I did this because, of course, I could have spent weeks on it, and it would have been perfect. But I wanted an imperfect system that's going to work, make me money, but it just needs to fool people that are in their daily life, doing their daily things. So I picked this. I'm from Swindon, and this is a car park in Swindon. It's quite popular. The coin machines are always out of order, which is a good thing for me. They don't have card readers. So it's ran by a company called Ringo, and they advertise pay by mobile. their QR codes with these very badly maintained machines, which is perfect for me. So first, I did my reconnaissance. I've gone to Ringo and replicated their business as much as I could. Took the fonts, colours, wording, anything I could to try and replicate it. But I don't want to spend much money on this either. I'm trying to make money, not spend money. So I'm using the cheapest way possible, and that is Wix. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. We don't need this to be complicated. And I only need the mobile site. I'm not expecting someone to be carrying their laptop around with them. Probably some of us would, but in car parks, they're going to be on their mobile, and it's going to be quick, and no one's really thinking if they're in a rush. So I bought a generic domain for £1, and that was my total spend on this little task. And then linked it to this mobile site. And this is the site that I built with the QR code that is now disconnected, but did work. And I did not go and put any QR codes anywhere because I'm not that brave. But as you can see, it's okay. It would fall with someone quite quickly if they're in a rush, I think. It replicates, it's copyrighted their images and all the rest of it. So I think that would work for now. And imagine spending 2, 4, 6 weeks on this. I think you can make it very good. And you'll be probably making in the hundreds by day one, I would think, if you did this in a few car parks. And of course, my QR codes would be very prominently placed. And no one's going to go looking for another QR code. If there's one right in front of you, you're just going to scan it. They're not going to initially think it's a scam. And recently, we've seen the train companies start to be peeling off the extra stickers and checking them. How long is that going to last for? A week? Who's going to actually listen to the management of checking QR codes on their walls every single day? It's not going to happen. They're not paid enough to do it as well. I wouldn't. I'd do it for a couple of days probably if I was in that sort of role, and then give up. So we need to look towards mitigation strategies, and this is just a starter list. This is ones I thought of on the fly, and these are ones that are being used today. So I've split them here into business, and businesses are creating an app. They're trying to make it so QR codes are not being used, and that is one way. But it's not going to be the other way, because we got to think it's not just car parks. It's job ads on the back of a van that could be harvesting your credentials. Anything like that. And vans will be even better. Just jump in a car park and you've got 100 vans stuck on a QR code on the back of each one. And then you've got everyone's bank details. And we can check for tampering. Again, as I said, it's not going to be used. And educating others about the scam. But no one's going to check each time, because it's like checking your car before each trip. You're meant to. I don't. Who jumps in the car and checks it all around, checks all the tyres and brakes and everything before they go out? Who's got the time for that? It's just a time matter. And then the best way I think I do it is independently finding these websites. I don't scan QR codes. Even the sponsors out here, I just don't trust the QR codes. And if we can just independently find these things, using things like location codes, we're independently putting it into the app, that may help. Ultimately, it is going to be the education. It's not us that we're targeting this app. It's the people that are not so savvy. They don't know about the QR code scams. And there's hundreds of stories online there's over 120 people that are scammed out of their bank accounts in 6 months. So that's such a huge amount of people. And usually it is people in their 40s to 70 sort of range that are not probably looking at this in their daily life. Why would they? They've got other interests, other jobs, everything like that. But then that's when we're out and about. What about when we're in the office? We've got apprentices, we've got juniors, we've got anyone they've just come into the company, and I, myself, deal with QR codes 20 times a day when I'm working in client environments, all this MFA through Microsoft. But it can be manipulated as well. So this is a very high-level overview of this tool called Squarefish. And what it does is, in an okay way, it just copies our Microsoft Authenticator. So if you've seen a QR code like this, I've used these a lot, and they're pretty much part of my daily life. But they can be used maliciously with the help of Squarefish. So it starts with a email like this, and it doesn't start the actual authentication part, which lasts 15 minutes, until this is scanned. So this is a pretty good scam. It can be sat in your inbox, and we're not starting until this is scanned. And then we have, once this is scanned, it's going to send a code that can be put in either through this link or through the QR code. And then it's going to be constantly polling for the user authentication. And we got 15 minutes for this to work. And again, send this out to 100 companies several times a day. And this is going to work as well as the QR code scam. It's like any scam. It's not going to work every time, but it's going to give you a good amount of time, which then, once they've entered the code, all looks pretty. Obviously, it does look a bit off. We know it looks off, but again, working in a rush. It's going to work eventually. And then we get a token. And with people that are smarter than me, that know how to penetration test, and I'm fully in defense, and I've tried penetration testing, but I'm not smart enough for that. It allows them to progress and do things like lateral movement and get into their system. So the point of this is to think before you scan, and we're a long way from safety with QR codes. COVID's only made that 100 times worse. But if we can, try and educate others, and hopefully someone will not be scammed tomorrow. And that is not a scam. That is my LinkedIn. Thank you.
Any questions?
Malware redirection, of course, as well. To scan your code where you want to go, because it looks right, but you can become part of the botnet on the way.
Yeah, so there's hundreds of possibilities that we could do with QR codes.
Loads of QR codes around university at the moment, aren't there?
Yeah, I've seen hundreds. I started to take pictures of every single one I've seen to try and include in this presentation, but by the end of the day I've seen too many. I was like, no, this is not going to work. There's one for everything. It can be, and it's not going to end. They're super useful at the end of the day. They're great. It's not a bash on QR codes, because they work really well. So yeah, we just need to try and, there is companies that are out there that are trying to make apps that are for authentication and things, but this needs to be built into your mobile, into the camera, because we're not going to go to another app when our camera just scans it. It's built into iOS now. It's just, we need to find easy ways.
Have we got any secure reader apps?
There's one being developed by, I spoke to a company on LinkedIn, I think Joe sent it to me.
It's at a start in Newport, Wales.
There you go. That's the only one I've seen.
The name, okay.
Koala.
But it's also binary eyes on Android.
Yeah. So we need to try and, are people going to download them? Are they going to use them? But it's going to be obviously a lot harder to get them integrated into, I don't know how it would work myself right now, but it's something I'm definitely invested in. Anything else?
What do you think the future of QR codes is going to be?
I think they're just going to keep on going bigger and better, and it's just going to be this forever, but we just need to try and, it's like when I'm working in the SOC, I can't stop people doing what they're doing. People go to all these free gift websites and don't get free gifts, and then ask me why I've locked their computer down. It's just, we're just going to be continuously defending it, I think. And it's, again, like so, we need to find more tools, more ways of trying to defend ourselves and others against using these in the corporate life and in our general life.
Regarding the MFA scan, does it work too if you scan the QR code directly in your MFA application?
No.
Or do you need to...
No, so it has to be scanned with a camera, and or click the link through the email for this to work. It's quite a basic tool, but it's on GitHub. All of it's on GitHub. So you search Squarefish, and there's a lot on there to read. And it's quite interesting.
With the default Android camera, when I scan a QR code, it brings up a bubble with the URL, and I click it and actually go to it. So would that prevent that from happening? Because I'd scan it, it would come up with a very shady domain, and pretty much stop me right there.
Possibly. We'll have to see. I don't use Android. I've never used Android, so that's a thing. I've always been on iPhone, so it'll be interesting to see. There'll be a lot more testing how it works and seeing where we can go with it. But I think Android will be the first one to defend against it, unfortunately. Yes?
I think I can just add to it because as part of my dissertation research, I was also exploring the QR code conundrum.
Yeah.
How it works in Android, the bubble essentially it just focuses on the the top level domain and the main actual domain. Like even with the free Wix website, you get like a random digits wix.com / So it just focuses on the first part and then just omits out the entire thing. So if you can masquerade the URL to look genuine in the first or second subdomains and then just put anything after that, it completely omits that. So it defeats the purpose and you can easily bypass through it. That was one of the ways we kind of designed to mitigate, again, from the users to actually observe the URL and say, oh, this is not LinkedIn.com.
Yeah. I think it's been quite easy to continue to scan with QR codes. Thank you.
Love the internet. Yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah, just turn it all off. We'll all be jobless.
Right.